Good evening. I want to call to order this meeting of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners and welcome all of you here. We have some special guests tonight, Wendell Boy Scout Troop 515. Happy to have y'all here with us tonight, young men. So thank you for being here with us. We're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Wendell Middle School student Elijah Robinson. This was sent to me by his principal. We are proud to recognize Elijah Robinson, a sixth grade student who has quickly garnered the attention of his peers, teachers, and administrators in the building. As Colin Powell said, a dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. We have found Elijah to be an inspiring young man, one who works hard in his classes as he prioritizes the learning he needs to do to become the person that he wants to be. We have also found Elijah to be a kind, thoughtful student who serves as a model for all those around him. Elijah served as an amazing ambassador during our sixth grade event. Students are selected by their teachers, but what sets Elijah apart from others is that there was a list of teachers who all wanted him to represent their class, activity, or club during the event. Elijah is a student who always finds joy in learning and the honor in helping others. And he is a student who makes his family and our school proud. But what is most remarkable about Elijah is that he makes us all proud because of the inner strength he has to maintain his resolve to do what is right, to be courageous, and most of all, to see the joy that exists all around him. Elijah's smile is contagious, and his work ethic is something to be admired. We are proud of the person Elijah is, and we know his sweat, determination, and hard work are going to bring the most beautiful experiences and opportunities his way. Well, my goodness. When I read that the other day, just reading it again, I've got goosebumps. What a fine young man, and I enjoyed meeting you today before the meeting. And Elijah told me the best thing he did today was play basketball at school, and I was so glad to hear that because a lot of kids tell me about sports and, about academic things, and, you got to be well-rounded, and I'm proud of you for that, too. So he's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I go back?
Thank you, Elijah. Our invocation tonight, we are to hear from Ed Keegan of St. Eugene's Catholic Church, but I don't think he's here, and I'm wondering if I can call on my friend Errol Briggerman. Thank you so much.
He got boy lead somewhere.
He probably did. Thank you for taking over for him.
I got one thing to talk about tonight.
Okay?
Next Saturday, we'll do the ALS walk from our church. It's for Mark Blancher. We've been doing it for some time now. And it's a fundraiser for ALS. It's just a great organization. He's quite a unique individual. So, okay.
Thank you for sharing.
You bet. Lord, thank you for this time you give us together. Thank you, Lord, how you watch over this city, how you've blessed this city. We just ask you, Lord, tonight to watch over our commissioners, our mayor, as the decisions they have to make is the best for our city. We just ask you, Lord, that through them, our city grows. We just ask you, Lord, that you bless them and bless our city and continue to keep your arms around us as we grow as a community. For all these things we ask in your blessed name. Amen.
Thank you. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right, we'll move into our public comment period. The public can participate in public comment by signing up at the podium on the night of the meeting or by submitting written comments by the Friday by 5 p.m. before our Monday meeting. And they will be read into the minutes for 3 minutes. And if you sign up, you have 3 minutes to speak as well. Just as a quick reminder, our rules of procedure don't allow back and forth during public comment, either during this time or during a public hearing. So if you have a question that you want to pose, you're not going, it's not a back and forth opportunity. There are other opportunities for that, but this isn't it. But typically, I will make a note of any questions that come up during that time, and we'll see if we can't get you some answers. And very often, the staff person will contact you and see if they can't help you out if you had a question that has an answer. Okay, and tonight we have one person signed up, Regina Harmon.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Regina Harmon. I live at 6616 Tells Branch Road. And for all of you out there watching on TV, you know that I care about this town more than I can say. But I came to this board a year ago and pointed out a number of conflict of interests, and you did nothing. I went to the town manager and the police chief over a number of conflict of interests, and they did nothing. Hundreds of people from Wendell have showed up to these meetings to show their concerns over certain development projects. The people of Wendell, we know we're going to grow, and we have no problem with growth. They just want growth a little bit more controlled. They don't want thousands of houses, townhomes, apartments on a piece of property that should hold only 500, or townhomes built in an area that doesn't make sense, or stripping all the trees from a project just to put a few more homes. They have asked this board a number of times to make sure they did not happen, but you still don't listen. So as you know, I filed a lawsuit against y'all about 2 weeks ago because I found out that none of you on the board are bonded with individual surety bonds that are required by a number of general statutes of North Carolina in order to vote on or pass anything sitting up there as commissioners. So I am serving you with an affidavit tonight asking you to not move forward with anything more votes whatsoever because of the unlawful actions you have taken for a number of years. So before you go any further, I respectfully, and I do mean respectfully, ask you to read this affidavit before moving forward. I have them right here. I'd like to hand them to you, or I can hand them to
The clerk.
the clerk.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so they're addressed to each one of y'all. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a lovely evening.
Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move into section 4, recognitions, reports, and presentations. And item 4A is the recognition of Wendell Middle School teacher, Ms. Shayla Ebert. You come stand up here for me. This was sent to me by your principal, Ms. Truesdale. One of the most famous quotes in The Wizard of Oz is, "A heart is not judged by how much you love, but how much you are loved by others." While Miss Ebert, I won't say it wrong, I know I told you I am, cares deeply for others, the real testament to her work is that she is loved by students, staff, and families because of her unwavering commitment to our community. They have found that she uses her intellect to better the world around her, and she uses her courage to be a protector. But more than anything, she uses her heart to guide her interactions and her work. This is Miss Ebert's first year as a counselor, and we really wish there were First-Year Counselor of the Year award because she would certainly deserve that honor. Ms. Ebert has tirelessly worked with the 8th grade students as they learn about high school options and register for classes that will shape their futures. The work of a counselor is often filled with moments that are full of hard decisions, uncertainties, grief, and sadness. But Ms. Ebert navigates these moments with the courage to do what is right and the heart that recognizes that doing the right thing may hurt along the way. When we see Miss Ebert around the school, she always goes out of her way to have a kind word and a quick smile for all those who need to see a bright spot in their day. We hope everyone here takes part in the pride we have for Miss Ebert, as she is a product of the Wendell community, a community that rallies around our youth to ensure they have a bright future. We are most grateful that Miss Ebert uses her intellect and courage and her heart to foster resilience and joy in our children, and we are overjoyed that Ms. Ebert decided that there is no place like home. Another one, so lovely. Ms. Truesdale's quite a good writer. She's very nice. She writes about y'all are always very nice. So this very high praise. We wanted to have you here tonight just to recognize you and thank you for everything you do for our kids in Wendell. So thank you for that.
I just wanted to say thank you again to my wonderful admin, who had such nice things to say. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
And I just appreciate my counseling team as well. And I care about my students so much and this community. And I am just so grateful to be a part of Wendell Middle School and this community. So thank you so much for recognizing me.
I feel confident with your guidance. They're going to do great things. And so thank you for that.
Thank you.
I was so happy to have Wendell Middle School here tonight. I was happy to see them represented so well, and I hope that people see what a wonderful place Wendell Middle School is for our kids. It really is. I'm out there periodically, and I always enjoy my visits, so it's a nice, nice school. Item 4B is a proclamation recognizing May 18 through 24, 2025 as National Public Works Week. We have our Public Works Director, Brian Bray. Okay, whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the town, of the people of Wendell. And whereas these infrastructure, facility, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public work professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and in the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for our citizens, civic leaders, and children in Wendell to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th Annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and Canadian Public Works Association. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners, I, Virginia Gray, Mayor of the Town of Wendell, do hereby designate the week May 18 through 24, 2025 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. Duly proclaimed this the 12th day of May 2025, and it's signed by me. We certainly appreciate everything that you all do for us here. It's been my experience and observation that things that we're not quite sure where they go seem to land on your desk. And I really appreciate that you always take them with a smile, and all of the men and women who work with you do the same, and we really appreciate that. Keep Wendell looking beautiful and do things that people have no idea that you take care of. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a great team.
You
and,
do have a great team.
We appreciate that.
You do. You want to take a picture real quick?
Certainly.
Okay. Our next item, item 4C, is the presentation of Risk Management Services Grant from the North Carolina League of Municipalities. I'm going to hear again from Mr. Bray.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Board of Commissioners. I'm here tonight to talk about the town of Wendell applied for an NCLM safety grant after we identified a need for an additional light tower to assist with maintaining safety during our events and to provide lighting during times of emergency. The grant was submitted in 2024. We received notification that we were awarded it in early 2025 and received $5,000 in funding for the new light tower in April of 2025. This is the third safety award provided to the town that has enabled us to purchase new light towers. The town's previous awards were in 2022 and 2020. Matthew Reed, a risk control consultant for the League of Municipalities, is here, and he'll present the grant to the town. Matthew?
Good evening, Mayor,
Good evening.
Commissioners. I had a little statement, but I think you did a wonderful job right then. I don't know if I need to say it.
You can say whatever you'd like.
Well, maybe I will. I'll give a little bit of a plug for the
Okay.
league, if that's okay.
That's fine.
All right. North Carolina League of Municipalities is a member-driven organization representing the interest of cities and towns in the state. Through their collective efforts, league member cities and towns better serve their residents and improve quality of life. For more than 100 years, the league has been one voice for cities and towns of North Carolina. Since the 1980s, the North Carolina League has provided workers' compensation along with property and liability insurance coverages for North Carolina cities and towns, and the town of Wendell participates in both of these programs. Each year, we offer this matching safety grant program to help our participating members reduce their operational risks. And Wendell has been an active participant, and we thank you for taking advantage of this. Tonight, I'm here to present this check for $5,000 to help pay for a portable light tower. I want to thank Brian for taking advantage of the program, and also thank the town for taking care of its employees and watching out for their safety so that you can reduce your operational risks, not have the claims, and spend the money, which saves the citizens money. So it's a great thing, and we thank you for taking advantage of it. Yeah,
Are we taking a picture again? Okay.
I've got a check.
All right, we'll move into Section 5, our public hearings, and item 5A is a public hearing for the fiscal year 2025-26 budget. Mr. Collins.
Not only introduce myself as your town manager and budget officer, but also an Order of the Arrow member and Eagle Scout. So thank you all for being here. I think this is my 7th budget being presented to the board in Wendell. It's always exciting to me, and y'all know it, so excuse me while I geek out a little bit. This is obviously governed by state statute, so my job at this point is to present a balanced budget to the board that contains the items required by state statute. I delivered that to you last Friday as part of the budget process, and we notified the public, made it publicly accessible, and notified the media. We properly published for this public hearing last week for this public hearing. The budget is available on our town website. I encourage the public to go, and there's so much information there. We pride ourselves in our transparency, and our budget is your primary policy document adopted each year, and so that transparency reflects y'all's transparency and policy and what you all do as a board. I like to lead these off with usually what's in citizens' minds, and so the total budget this year, $58,586,493. for a net budget, which you'll learn more about, you all have heard about, but the public will learn more about, $54,605,362. Maintains a flat property tax, so no increase or decrease in property tax, maintains existing at 42 cents per $100 valuation. Fee increases are nominal for field rental costs and development review. Nothing new from the budget work session presented. There's no increase in rates to other fees that commonly, like stormwater or solid waste or anything else, the public would pay. There's a lot of new fund structure in the document this year, including capital funds for both general and utility, a debt service fund, a stormwater utility fund. The general fund reserve balance is above your required 40% policy. Of course, the local government commission's recommended is 8%, so that's well above that. The budget does include a general obligation borrowing of $22.5 million, consistent with the bond referendum that the public approved. So how do you have a all funds total budget and a net budget is adding these new funds in. And some of the funds get that $3,981,131 are transfers between, so you don't want to double count. So you net those out, giving you that net recommended budget. The fund structure is another form of providing transparency to the public. And I'll talk more about those funds as we move through this presentation. Flashy new cover, thank you, Tyler. Looks good. We'll be presenting this budget after we go through the process again to the Government Finance Officers Association for another distinguished budget presentation. We've been recognized 6 years in a row. That's the first 6 years Wendell's been recognized for that. That shows that you're doing a transparent, best practice process for your budget and your budget document. It's peer reviewed by other finance officials from around the state. And they provide us comments back in ways that we can improve in doing that each year. There were some changes to layout with our ClearGov software platform. And a common thing that we've been asked for in GFOA is we basically had a general fund budget in the past, and we finally have other funds that we can relate to, so we can finally deal with their requests for more relationship of funds to departments now that we have more funds to relate to departments. As a growing community, we have 3 common themes. The first is to recognize y'all's policy of maintaining a people-first approach in everything we do, whether that's how we treat each other internally, how we treat our employees, how we treat the public, how we treat anybody that comes in for service. We always think of people first in our interactions. How do you provide for sustainable core municipal services? As this community grows and the organization grows, we need to make sure that services that our public rely on are maintained through that growth. And then, given those two, how do you solve for the capital needs that growing community needs? How do you plan financially? How do you make those connections to keep being the awesome community that people want to live in, that Wendell has been with that small town, big charm? So looking at maintaining our people first, the recommended budget implements the compensation and classification study that the board had done last fiscal year. It maintains our health reimbursement account and lifestyle balance account at 2025 fundings. It covers increases in premium costs, no cost to employees, and that cost is within our initial budget estimates presented to the board at the budget retreat. It enhances dental cover to cover adult orthodontics and mouth gear. Our vision plan now moves from biannual to annual frame coverage, and life insurance increase to recognize the increase in public salaries moving forward. one of the things we take pride in is with a small organization, less than 100 employees, it does not take a lot of people retiring or moving out of market or finding another vocation in life to get to 10 to 15% turnover rate. And that's a source of pride, is how we've been able to, during the Great Resignation, actually trend down in our resignation and turnover rate. Making sure that we have sufficient positions both to maintain core services, but also to provide support to existing services, existing personnel. We look at adding 7 proposed positions that would take us from 92 full-time equivalents to 99 in the 26 budget. No changes on the starting dates or positions proposed from the budget work session. There's 3 reclassifications to better shift titles into work needed in those areas. No changes from the work session on those 3. So providing for sustainable core municipal services for local governments, no different than how people have been working to maintain their household budgets or their private business budgets during the past 5 years of inflation. Overall, the 5-year trend for U.S. inflation rates is a little over 18%. You can see that broken out by year. So that impacts, for our municipality, costs of labor, contract, our capital costs, equipment, vehicle costs, material, everything that we do reflects that cost. To be able to maintain core municipal services, that cost needs to be factored into as we grow, not just because the town's bigger, but because the cost, even if the town wasn't growing, we'd still have that cost to account for. So here's some ways we're working to maintain sustainable core municipal services. The traffic unit addition to the police department, by the end of the fiscal year, there'll be 3 new positions, a sergeant and 2 officers. That allows for some officers to be assigned to a traffic unit. That with just zone designations of response for officers allows to maintain response times at current rates. That allows for people to stay in their zones unless there's a larger call, and not be pulled off by traffic, which wrecks and those things tend to pull officers away from being able to respond to other items. Reclassifications, diversification, both in parks and public works, are just shifting resources to where we need them to be able to maintain service levels. As there's more projects, more service, more lane miles, you need to have people to oversee that work. And one department head that used to be in a piece of equipment now has to manage his department, and he needs people to be able to oversee ground level positions as well, and that's with both parks and public works. Finance, really all departments. Updating our UDO, making sure that it's current with the adopted comp plan, as well as updating our Parks and Recreation plan, are both in this budget. More people, more evidence, you need more lockers for it. I mean, it's amazing. That's just one example of every little thing you need a little bit more of as with growth. There's the continued effort for vehicle replacement and technology replacement within the budget. That's sustained. How we look at our stormwater program, how is that calculated to make sure that we can continue providing that base level of service across the jurisdiction in an equitable manner. Making sure we have the equipment to do the work. It's more work, more impact on the equipment we have. We need to make sure we have the equipment to do those larger impact projects. The small stormwater project fund is something that the board's added in the last couple years. That does a lot of the older sections of town, replacing of culverts, redoing the ditches in some of the older sections of town, and that's funded at an equitable level or equal level as last year in the proposed budget. Looking at streets, as the board will require, remember, this fiscal year, we did years 4 and 5 of our study. So we did 2 years in one. That meant that the pavement company only had to mobilize 1 time instead of 2 years. That's a cost savings to your residents. That also means that next year, which would have been year 5, we don't have that plan. It's already done. So the 5-year pavement condition survey for the next 5-year period will be done next year, since we finished a year early. In addition, downtown streetscape, phase 1, we're targeting Pine Street at this time and connecting that back to the downtown paved parking area. It's the park and ride lot. There's a couple intersection projects. I know everybody's been waiting for the traffic signal at Wendell Boulevard and Wendell Falls Parkway. That'll enter construction this year. That also include another big project, then probably the #1 traffic issue in Wendell that's not actually in Wendell right now is the intersection of Wendell Falls Parkway and Eagle Rock Road, which are 2 state roads in county jurisdiction, but quickly becoming part of Wendell at this point. We are under design for the final divided intersection with turn lanes. So that is finishing design, getting into permitting, and starting construction in coordination with the commercial development on that corner in the coming year. Also getting to 60% design for the intersection of Eagle Rock Road and Wendell Boulevard, straightening out Eagle Rock Road alignment. A conceptual design for the intersection of Selma Road and Wendell Boulevard, where we have kind of an awkward connection of roads at this time. And then looking at a couple collector roads that are being brought into the municipal system and were designed a number of years ago in Big Falls, Taylor, and Hollybrook to make them more of a municipal standard rather than a wider DOT rural road standard. For sidewalks, pedestrian intersection improvement at Wendell Falls Parkway and Landing View, just down the road here, working with DOT on that intersection improvement. There's funding to improve that intersection in '26. The intersection signalization at Wendell Falls Parkway and Wendell Boulevard also includes pedestrian crossing and closing of Wall Street. That's a pedestrian safety issue. The collector design also includes pedestrian improvements and sidewalks, and doing changing Hollybrook from a ditch swell to more of a municipal pedestrian scale infrastructure. Downtown streetscape phase 1 includes an area that doesn't have sidewalks, so it's starting to fill in some of those gaps in our fabric downtown to make sure that they're pedestrian friendly, and connecting them to parking areas so that those are more accessible to our downtown businesses. And it still includes about the extent of what our in-house capability is right now. 80 to 100,000 is about the number of loads of concrete that our in-house crew can do. Anything beyond that, we need to outsource. In talking with our Public Works Director today to confirm that, the number of other projects that we're working outside of this, the larger projects is kind of our project management capability. This still provides for our in-house ability to fill in a lot of gaps, do the ADA ramp improvements, and do some new sidewalk in older neighborhoods like we have been the last few years. Solving for capital needs. You probably see Ted from Davenport Public Finance for a later item on your agenda, but we've been working with Ted and Mitch and the Davenport staff on that capital funding strategy that was reported out last meeting. if the public sees in our budget, since the budget's has some different funds, I want to make sure that there's an understanding of 3 different capital budget numbers in there. The first is in the actual one-year capital budget. In the 5-year capital plan, you'll see a total of $32,964,995. That is the capital project budget. The capital project line budget is when you add in some contracts and property rents that are currently budgeted to capital lines. So it adds about $70,000 in additional cost. So you'll see in a minute how like capital projects are 33 million versus 32. That's the difference there. The capital project fund is a separate definition under that kind of fund that we'll go through in a minute, but that's a specific subset of the capital budget. All right. I would say the 5-year capital plan is 121 million approximately. So over 5 years, that's what's planned out. Beyond just the one, we do more than 1 year. The year 1 is budget in the 5-year plan. Years 2 through 5 are for planning purposes only, but it shows how financially we can fund the projects listed there under that time frame. And as y'all know, the capital project categories, how they tie to your strategic plan, other adopted plans like the recreation master plan or transportation plan, and then whether or not they maintain core services like the technology replacement or vehicle replacement programs we talked about earlier. So I'm not going to read out all the projects and numbers. The next few slides show an example of the diversification of types of projects and amounts represented within just the FY 2026 projects that are proposed to be funded for next year. Looking at that first slide, we're starting design on the new recreation center. Wendell Athletic Field Complex is a 5-field complex, moves from design and permitting into construction, first year of construction. Buffalo Creek Greenway Phase 1 will be on, I'm pointing at the Wendell Park property where the first trailhead and section of trail is going to be for that. I know one of y'all's #1 projects for a number of years, the Carver Community Center at Pleasant Grove, is full into construction and hopefully completion next fiscal year. Amazingly, again, a 10-year plan after 7 years need to be updated. Mary, the projects that were envisioned before are just really moving forward, and so we need to start thinking forward to the next 10-year horizon to be ready when that starts. Both Main Street Park and Main Street Greenway are in the same area, kind of extending downtown towards Buffalo Creek. Getting from design into permitting and construction on Main Street Park, and finishing up construction of Main Street Greenway, which hopefully will start pretty soon under a development agreement with the townhome development adjoining Magnolia Towns. Planning, Police, and Public Works. The LAP project is the intersection project at Wendell Falls Parkway and Wendell Boulevard. Let's see if there's, the new Public Works yard. I know Public Works recognized tonight the Appreciation Week. If you haven't been by that lately, the steel's going up, the outside walls will start, and roof will start being hung soon. So it's getting real and going vertical at this point, which I know excites our Public Works crews. On the north side of town, we're starting design on a dam that has failed, and so getting that stormwater and erosion control issue resolved in partnership with the neighboring community. Not only did we receive as a swap for the old town hall part of that being the park and ride lot, starting to improve that to a town parking standard in the coming year. Just for public's awareness on revenues, when you have that much capital, it's not unexpected to see a large amount of loan proceeds. Fund balance recommended be appropriate is only carryover from current year. There's no new fund balance appropriation recommended in this budget. That's the first time in a while we've done that. So that's a fiscally conservative measure to make sure that there's added funds moving forward, as long as the budget and economy performs as expected. After that, as you would see in most local governments, the ad valorem taxes is the prominent. Intergovernmental unrestricted, you're looking at sales tax primarily. No, yeah, that was sales, okay. Expenditure by type, again, with that large of a capital program, capital becomes our largest item of expense. We are a service organization. When you back out capital, our people become the #1 cost. Debt's still very small comparative to the total. A lot of math on the screen. You're welcome to break that down. I know we went through it at the work session in detail. Nothing's changed on this slide. It's just, again, going through the math to show that we exceed the town's policy of 40% for budgetary fund balance, and that's well above the local government commission minimum of 8%. As your budget grows, that becomes a challenge to make sure we maintain the funds in that account to keep it above 40%. And then debt service, again, showing what we're paying out in FY '26, also showing that our legal debt margin is $233,369,014. We're nowhere near that, don't plan to be. The borrowing that we are doing this year was planned and voted on by a voter referendum. Part of that borrowing is then creating a capital fund. You'll see that the bond projects that extend across multiple years, or projects over $500,000 that are included on this list, and that comes up to that $31 million total that I mentioned earlier as part of the capital numbers. This allows the public to track larger projects over time. It also allows the board through ordinance to designate funds over multiple fiscal years, and track that way. Stormwater fund is an enterprise fund that we also call our utility fund at this point. It's set up as a separate fund, so it's just breaking out the accounting from the general fund into a separate fund and looking at it like a utility, much like water and sewer in a lot of places that operate that. It's transparency of a utility, which is sometimes has a different appropriation and transfer philosophy than general funds. Water and sewer fund, it's becoming more historical at this point. We've paid off the debt in the past, and there's a certain number of years that we have to keep reporting that in our budget and accounting until that ages out. And final slide of tonight for me is just where we are with our budget process. So we formally started our budget process back in January. Informally, y'all know that it started with your retreat last fall, talking about strategic initiatives and what's important to you, which then led to what got populated into proposed budgets in our budget process. So here we are at our first May meeting in the budget hearing, so you'll hear anybody in the public that would like to speak about the budget tonight. And then you're not able to act on that by statute tonight, but you will be eligible to act on it at your next meeting, which is May 27th. And just for public awareness, that's a Tuesday night instead of Monday because of Memorial Day, so mark your calendar for that. In addition to adopting the budget document, there's the budget ordinance, the levy, the tax rate, the fee schedule. You also do the pay and class plan as part of adopting the budget document. So there's kind of several things rolled up in the adopting the budget. With that, I'm glad to take any questions the board may have about the recommended budget or yield for the public hearing.
Let's go ahead and open the public hearing, and then are there any questions from the board?
I'm wondering if you get an extra badge for commenting in the public hearing.
The funny thing was, sitting on my side, every time he mentioned something about a staff increase, their excitement, I saw Director Bray excited, and I saw two scouts almost be put to sleep by the electric town manager.
It's dense material, it's okay.
Well, not all of them can be Eagle Scouts,
Uh-oh, that was a challenge.
but all of these will.
They will. I'm confident that they will. All right, anything from the board?
I'm with the Scouts, can I?
You come, well, you know what, wait just a minute, the public will speak in a minute. Okay, so just hang on a minute. Anything from the board?
Mayor, I was just going to chime in and add that I appreciate seeing the presentation. I appreciate that this slide is still up, so if you want to know, this is all the information of how we got here and where we're going and exactly when we're going to do that. And we have an opportunity even between now and moving forward, so if the public heard something tonight or thinks of something, I've had one phone call about budget thus far in the process, and that was pretty early on, and staff addressed that, I think, before the initial budget was released. So this is your chance, Wendell, to take a look one more time. And I also want to plug ClearGov, not the website, but the process that we're using this year. If you would like to know, you hear us say design, construction, build, you can go in and see with that level of detail, and you actually see what I would assume is department head level comments about what this project is and why it's important and what budgetary impacts might be in the future. If you only want to look at 26, you can sort by that. If you want to look at what are we going to be doing in 2029, you can sort by that and see what we think a skid steer will cost 3 years from now. It's a granular level of detail that this was my other point, Madam Mayor, that I wanted to make just for my scouting friends in the room as a OA and Eagle Scout as well. Commissioner Lutz and I laughed. The first number on that slide was 2015. That's a frame of reference for me. That was my first year on the board, but it said $4 million. This is, you heard the manager say $58 million. The difference in those two things, and I thought I knew when we were talking about $4 million what the difference in those two is, but what I have learned the difference in those two things is the amount of detail, the number of people that are required, the amount of public input that you need to get, the amount of plans you need to have made. And I remember prior to every scouting trip, right, making the plan for the trip, looking at the weather, but all of these little contingencies, it doesn't matter. You got to kind of plan for all of them. This budget includes a lot more people, a lot more public feedback, a lot more goals, a lot more information and buy-in all around. And so happy to hear from the public and certainly want to hear that between now and when the budget passes, but appreciate the level of detail that our staff's gone to and the level of legwork they've done to get us to this point.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Anyone else? All right, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? Give me your name and your address. You have 5 minutes, and watch the lights right
Promise
here.
I won't take 5 minutes.
Okay.
My name is Joshua Roberts, resident of 313 Wood Green Drive, Wendell, North Carolina, 27591. After hearing about the parks and recreation, my sons and I, we have to travel to Raleigh or Cary or Apex, North Carolina, to be able to go to the skate parks. And I was wondering if you guys have in mind for the future for a local skate park here to come, and how much that's impacted my life, because now I'm able to have a skateboard ministry that is able to impact kids' lives. But I had to have it at my church. That's all the way out in Raleigh at Cross Assembly. And So that was something that I was wondering if the public was open to that, or Wendell community, sorry. Nervous being up here.
It's okay. I won't let the town manager address it in just a moment when we get done. Did you have any other questions or comments or
No,
concerns?
is that in the future, is things like that in the future budget? Are things like that coming with the new Parks and Recreation? Also, things that are for like physical equipment, for like doing pull-ups, dips, things like that, that can bring that type of community. These types of things bring community. Skate parks, diversity, with all types of kids and backgrounds and ethnicities, and the community that brings together. There's a unity that every time I've ever been to a skate park, everybody gets along, and we're all from different ethnicities and backgrounds. And so that's something I just wanted to bring to you guys. Thank you.
May I ask you a question real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
So in addition to that, you're also interested in exercise stations?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just want to say that out loud because I've been begging for that for quite a while, and I want everybody up here to hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that would be great. It's an outlet for not only the community, but for me being a combat veteran, having that place to be able to get outside, to exercise. That's super important for my mental health. Those types of things right there allow me to also to be involved with the community, to get out, to be with my dog, to be able to do pull-ups. Reminds me of what I had to do before jumping out of airplanes.
Well, we're getting completely sidetracked. We
But-
did add them on our recent neighborhood park that's opened, but I would like to see them on a lot of our trails and in a lot of our parks. So you've just made my day. So
Okay.
thank you for
Yes, ma'am.
saying that.
All
All right, is there
Well, thank you,
anyone
guys.
else that would like to speak about the budget tonight? Anything else from the board? Okay, Mark, you want to talk about things?
We get bonus points for bringing up the skate park concept on the screen for it.
Oh, yeah, so
You get bonus points if you know what you're the
I'll
fiscal.
speak on it as well when Manager Collins is done.
Yeah, so the board heard that from the public a couple years ago, and last year we had a consultant do a concept design to add to Wendell Park, as the board is aware. I'm actually supposed to address them, but I'm doing the wrong thing and looking back at the
No, we've
purposes.
broken a lot of rules here tonight.
Yeah.
I broke some too, so.
Yeah, so in fiscal year '29, we'll be starting, let's see, actually in '30, we've got, which starts in 2029 and goes into 2030, funding for a skate/bike park with pump track, both design and construction. And for the folks who wanted the splash pad and not that, from our Parks and Recreation Master Plan, both of those things kind of graded out pretty well. Splash pad was the number one thing, so the splash pad is also in that fiscal year. So both of those capital items are in the current 5-year plan. And to the mayor's point, Hollybrook Park has some exercise equipment next to the fully accessible playground. Also in Wendell Park, along the trail past the beach volleyball, there's some exercise stations along that trail as well. Yeah, and,
Yes, they were. Eagle Scout
yep, and
projects,
they're Eagle Scout projects,
But we
exactly.
need more.
Yep, we can always do more.
We need more. All right, anything else from the board?
I would like to add something, Mayor. And Commissioner Joyner spoke on it. ClearGov is the platform. I mean, you can click on all the things to see the skate park, the pump track. If you don't know what an asphalt cold planer is, you can click on that, see a picture of that. So tons of information, and it dials it down for you. You know, we figured out that we've got a lot of stuff going on in town. We figured out that a lot of it is going on right where we can see from here, but we couldn't do it all at the same time, because if we did, then we'd have to essentially shut it all down for construction. So we're having to phase it out. So 2029 might seem like a long time, but it'll be here before we know it. So got a lot of cool stuff coming, so thank you.
Yeah, I would also say if we did everything at one time, we would have to pay for everything at one time.
Board it all at one time.
And no one wants to pay that tax rate. So that was also part of that planning.
All right, we'll close the public hearing, and You ready for next time? All right, we'll move into our administrative items now. Item 6A is a resolution of findings and determinations to issue general obligation bonds. Mr. Johnson, how are you tonight?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. Hope you're doing well. Tonight, in your agenda packet, there is a resolution making certain findings and determinations related to general obligation bonds to be issued by the town of Wendell. So about a year and a half ago now, November 2023, the town held 2 voter referendums on the local election. One for the approval of $38 million for parks and recreation projects to be funded through general obligation bonds or GO bonds, and $12 million for transportation projects. As Mark referenced earlier, we've worked with our financial advisors, Davenport and Company, and they have solicited a proposal to sell the first batch of GO bonds via direct bank loan. The intent was to compare what banks were willing to submit and evaluate should we go that route versus the public market, which was presented to you at your previous meeting. Of those that submitted for direct bank loans, Webster Bank was recommended by staff and by Davenport. And again, at your previous meeting, April 28th, you all gave the administrative direction to pursue the private sale of the bonds through Webster Bank rather than taking a little bit of financial uncertainty and risk in pursuing the public market for this particular issuance. So the sale requires the adoption of a resolution making certain findings and determinations relating to general obligation bonds to be issued. Included in the resolution is a not to exceed provision of $22,500,000. The resolution requests that the LGC, Local Government Commission, sell the bonds without rating from a national rating agency. That would be like your Fitch or your Moody's or S&P, to sell a private sale without advertisement to, again, Webster Bank. And if approved, if the resolution's approved, the next steps would be for the LGC to consider approving the issuance for the bonds at their upcoming meeting on June 3rd. Happy to answer any questions. We do have Ted Cole in the audience for questions as well. He's from Davenport. If not, seeking adoption of a resolution.
All right, any questions from the board? Anything? Okay.
Thank Garrett and Davenport for walking us through this process and for the presentation last time on all of this. And with that, Madam Mayor, I'd move that we adopt a resolution making certain findings and determinations related to the general obligation bonds to be issued by the town of Wendell.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to adopt the resolution making certain findings and determinations related to the general obligation bonds to be issued by the town of Wendell, North Carolina. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And item 6B is a Brownfield Program Task Orders 19 and 20 between the town of Wendell and Geosyntec. Mr. Coates.
Yep. Good evening, Mayor and board members. The 2 items before you tonight are task orders 19 and 20 related to our Wendell Brownfield program, which is funded by the EPA Environmental Assessment Grant that the town received 2 years ago. Scope for the task order 19 is for the Pleasant Grove redevelopment project. That's where the school is being converted into a community center at 948 Morphus Bridge Road. In addition to the Brownfield Assessment Grant funds, the town is set to receive community project funding through HUD, through Congresswoman Ross's office in support of this project. So this task order is to work on the environmental record review needed for those federal funds. And previously related was task order 16, so this is an addition to that original task order. Task Order 19 is up to $30,000. Task Order 20 is related to the intersection of Wendell Falls Parkway and Eagle Rock Road to continue work on the former gas station on that site, which will be, has been approved for a retail shopping center. And so that is Task Order 20 is up to $14,740. I can answer any questions that you have on those task orders.
Any questions from the board? Okay, do we have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move we approve task orders 19 and 20.
All right, we have a motion to approve task orders 19 and 20. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right, thank y'all. Let's move on to other business real quickly. Update on board committees by town board members, and we have one, the Wendell Volunteer Fire Department. Commissioner Joyner.
Madam Mayor, that meeting was moved until this coming Tuesday.
Okay.
Rescheduled.
We'll hear about it next time then. All right, commissioners' reports, we'll stay with you.
Nothing tonight, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Commissioner Lutz.
No, just thanks again to the staff for all their hard work on the budget. It's gotten easier, as I say every year, easier for me to understand, easier for me to follow. I think it has something to do with just how early we start and start discussion, but it's, thanks again for all their hard work and bringing this to us. And just to the Public Works recognition tonight, I may have told Director Bray about this, but as someone who kind of works near the square, I always see a lot of their staff in there cutting grass and doing projects and doing things, and they're always working hard, but I always comment to him how friendly they are and how nice they are and how they will they'll wave, they'll speak, and I mean, and maybe they just know who I am and they're speaking to me, but I don't feel like they always do, but they always say, hey, and how you doing, and so, and always so courteous to my staff or things like that too, so just a real good team that he's assembled there, and it keeps our town looking real nice.
I agree.
Thank you.
Commissioner Eatman.
Strong second to all of Commissioner Lutz's comments and nothing else from me.
Commissioner Honeycutt.
I never thought I would get excited about what an equivalent residential unit would be, or I would get excited about funding a governmental study. I was wrong. I did. Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Thank you for the staff, and it was a very pleasurable process. Thank you.
Commissioner Deloach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to thank the Scouts again for being here. You guys, you do deserve a badge for this of some sort, and you stayed awake too. So I don't think it's any surprise to me that Manager Collins and Commissioner Joyner are both Eagle Scouts. So kudos to you guys. Rocking the Canes tonight, obviously, missing the game, but apparently we are up from the hand signals I keep getting from people. So happy to hear that and look forward to back-to-back Stanley Cups. So let's see how that pans out. Maybe that'll age well. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Real quickly, a quick reminder that this Friday, May 16th, is Meet on Main. The band is The Switch. There are food trucks, kids zone, local breweries and restaurants will be open. Hope that you'll come down there and join us. It looks like the weather's going to be nice, so that's a big deal for that group. Starts at 6:30 and runs till 9:30, and it should be beautiful, fun nights. I see all of you down there. Also, I was going to remind everyone as well that our next town board meeting is on Tuesday, May 27th, so not on Monday due to the Memorial Day holiday. And that's all. I think we are going into closed session. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
Madam Mayor, I move that the board go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A3.
All right. We have a motion to go in closed session. All in favor?
Aye.